Hello, Durud and Shalom. Guys, what a mess. What a mess. What is happening? MAGA is over. Is MAGA over? They're turning on each other. Remember how we used to say the left eats its own? Well, now it's happening to the right, as predicted. As predicted. I told you this is going to happen. Remember when people told me woke is dead and Trump is going to cause the end of woke? And I'm like, nah, nah. That's not what he's going to do. And you can see woke is actually, maybe more communism than woke. But, anyways, the far left is back. And as also predicted, the right is turning on its own. And the main issue is Jews, obviously. But the fake issues are Epstein and I don't know, Iran, stuff like that. But anyways, let's look at what's happening because I think this is very worrying. Because I think this is going to, this is going to be amusing for a lot of you to watch, to watch these people turn against each other. However, just be careful what you wish for because this is going to the cracks in MAGA. Those cracks is going to be filled with gripers, potentially. All right. So even if you're a Trump hater, just remember that all of this internal civil war is just a perfect opportunity because right now the people who have the upper hand are the gripers. So any damage to Trumpism is not going to be, as things are right now, is not going to be replaced with what other people call neocons, right? We call just, or maybe Marco Rubio's of the world. It's going to be filled with the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world. So this is very concerning. And let's just watch what's happening. How about that? How's my audio, guys? How's my audio in the chat? Let me know. And also, let me know if you have liked the stream. And if you haven't, let me know why. All right? Let me know why.
Breaking up turns out not so hard to do. President Trump has declared he is officially pulling his endorsement of MAGA firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Georgia Congresswoman has been demanding the release of the Epstein files and has criticized the president for spending too much time abroad. The president, has apparently heard enough, posting on Truth Social overnight that all wacky Marjorie Taylor Greene does is complain, complain, complain.
I think that her constituents aren't going to be happy. Already, I have people calling me. They want to challenge her to a race in her district in Georgia. And, that's too bad. She's lost a wonderful conservative reputation. But when she says, don't go overseas, if I didn't go overseas, we might be in a war right now with China.
Meanwhile,
Marjorie Taylor Greene, by the way, if you don't know, and you should, because this concerns everybody, not just Americans. Marjorie Taylor Greene is basically more in line with Nick Fuentes. And the fight between Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump, if you go look on social media, most MAGA people that I've seen at least are taking Marjorie Taylor Greene's side. So Trump is losing this. And the more Trump tries to push back against them, the more their MAGA is turning against Trump. And the fact that they're more in line with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think that she's on the right side of all of this. And the fact that she's closer to Nick Fuentes, you could see where things are going, right? You could see, Nick Fuentes likes Marjorie Taylor Greene now, like he didn't used to, but now he likes her. By the way, thank you so much for Reincarnation Entertainment. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate the support. Okay, so let's continue with this.
President Trump is also upset with Congressman Thomas Massey.
Somebody in the chat saying hard disagree, Armin. It would have been very useful if you could actually explain disagree on what, so that I could learn something from that comment. So I have no idea what you disagree on because I said a whole bunch of stuff.
Meanwhile, President Trump is also upset with Congressman Thomas Massey, who also wants the Epstein files released.
Look at this. It's kind of interesting. Guys, isn't it interesting that the Epstein file releasing people are also anti-Israeli? Do you think, what do you think? And also, isn't it interesting that this whole Epstein stuff is being blamed on Israel? By the way, when I say it's this Epstein conspiracy theory is all fake, I'm not talking about that guy. Like, obviously, that guy did the stuff that they say he did. I'm just saying this whole conspiracy theory regarding all these other people being involved and it being controlled by Israel to basically be able to control world politics. That part I'm saying is a conspiracy theory. Obviously, Jeffrey Epstein was proven to be guilty, but I don't know. I haven't even seen any real evidence that he was. The evidence that I've seen just shows that he was doing these things himself. I haven't seen any evidence that even him was basically collecting videos of world leaders doing this stuff. I think he was just guilty of doing this himself for himself. Like, let me know if I'm missing something, because that's what I've seen. I haven't seen anything else. But it's quite a coincidence here that this guy, the anti-Israeli guy, and also Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're all the people who hate United States supporting Israel on the right are also the people who are release the files. Like, they have turned this to their crusade. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is the coincidence or what? Let me know in the chat. Jewish Samantha is saying, I want the Epstein file released. I mean, they have already released thousands of the pages. Like, what else do you? Let me see. What is the? I think the remaining ones are basically the parts where the victims are in.
A Trump-aligned super PAC is spending $1 million on ads targeting the Kentucky Republican. Massey says his constituents understand his position.
Yeah, guys, they have, like, everybody who says, I want the files released, do you know that they basically released almost everything except the parts where the victims' names are in, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that's necessarily true or not, but did you guys know that already thousands and thousands of files have already been released? Do you guys know that already? No, we got a super chat. Hold on. Ginga is saying, innocent until proven guilty. J.E. was never trialed. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein was never trialed. No, okay, but no, it's not innocent until proven guilty. Is for the court, it's for the court of law, not for the court of opinions. So, Ginga, innocent until proven guilty is for the court of law, is not for the court of public opinion. And for the court of public opinion, there is already plenty of evidence to show that he was guilty.
When they're protecting pedophiles, when they are blowing our budget, when they are starting wars overseas.
By the way, guys, Israelis in the chat, you guys know this guy, right? Thomas Massie is a very anti-Israeli Republican, right? So him and Marjorie Taylor Greene are basically our enemies on the right.
I
understand his position.
When they're protecting pedophiles, when they are blowing our budget, when they are starting wars overseas, I'm sorry, I can't go along with that. And back home, people agree with me. They understand, even the most ardent Trump supporters understand.
And President Trump has now ordered the Justice Department to investigate companies and Democrats who he claims had dealings with Jeffrey Epstein. And Attorney General Pam Bondi was quick to oblige, appointing the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan to handle that probe, even though 4 months ago, the DOJ determined nothing in the Epstein files warranted further investigation.
This is just going to get worse and worse for Trump. The more Trump talks, like, it doesn't matter if whatever Trump does, he's going to look. It doesn't matter if he's guilty. I honestly think Trump has nothing to do with this. Like, I don't honestly think that Trump hasn't done anything wrong here with regards to Jeffrey Epstein. But it really doesn't matter. It just looks really bad. Like, I don't think there's I even seen evidence that shows that Trump was not involved in any of this. But the way that it looks, the more he touches this topic, the more guilty he's going to look. It just looks really bad, and it doesn't matter. It's a sinking ship. And guys, this is a sinking ship. Like, Trump is a sinking ship right now because of Israel. But they're using the Epstein files against him. The isolationist parts of MAGA are using the Epstein files against them. But this is not about the Epstein files. This has nothing to do with Epstein. This is all about Israel. This is about the anti-Israeli part of the MAGA using the Epstein files as a sword against Trump.
This week, the president's name turned up repeatedly in just released emails.
Yeah, so Nail Bunny is saying, I disagree. I mean, people liked Marjorie Taylor Greene because she supported Trump, not the other way around. Yes, I know that. That was before. Okay? That was before. Things have changed right now. So now, if you're pro-Israel, you're toxic. And if you're anti-Israel, you're going to be more popular. If you're isolationist, anti-Israel, and America first means America only to you. And yeah, basically, if you're the closer you are to Nick Fuentes, that's what's in right now. That's what's in right now. So just because Marjorie Taylor Greene became popular because of Trump, it doesn't mean that that it's going to continue now. Like I've seen, go look at the comments among MAGA people. They're taking her side. They're taking her side against Trump.
Investigation. This week, the president's name turned up repeatedly in just released emails from the Epstein estate.
What did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago.
A lot of moving parts on this story. We get more now from CNN senior justice correspondent Evan Perez.
Good morning, Danny. Attorney General Pam Bondi says that federal prosecutors in New York are being tasked to launch yet another investigation of people associated with child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. This new investigation comes after President Donald Trump said that he was asking Bondi to investigate Epstein's ties to prominent Democrats. He named specific names, including former President Bill Clinton. Now, it's yet an extraordinary turn in a political mess that has consumed this White House for months. And it comes just days after Democrats had released emails from the late Epstein estate that mentioned Trump many times. Trump announced the directive in social media that accusing the Democrats of trying to revive attention to his past ties with Epstein and contending that they are, quote, using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try to deflect from their own disastrous shutdown and all of their other failures. Bondi responded to the president's social media post by thanking the president and saying that she'd have U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton in Manhattan lead this new investigation.
So this is okay. So this is obviously going to backfire on Trump because Trump was previously saying that the whole Epstein thing is nothing at all. There's nothing to be seen there. It's all just made up. Now that didn't work out for him, now he's telling Pam Bondi to go investigate this because this is actually a big thing that is going to show how involved the Democrats were. So which one is it? Is there nothing to see here, or is it worth investigating? Because I guess the previous script didn't work. Now we're trying the new one, but this is not going to work either. This is not going to work either. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if Trump could do anything for this to go away. And yeah, I don't know.
This is the same.
You guys might think like, oh, release the files. That's not even. Here's the thing, guys. First of all, the parts that haven't been released, even though most of it has been released, the parts that haven't been released are just the parts that would contain victim identities. But even if he did, if it doesn't implicate any of these people are going to be like, sure. Oh yeah, these are fake. These are the fake. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? Obviously, you were hiding something. If you release them now, and like Trump's name, like if he's not implicated in any way, people are going to say that this is the made-up list. So I don't think there's any winning here for Trump.
Jay Clayton in Manhattan lead this new investigation. This is the same office that led the earlier investigations of Epstein and of Ghislaine Maxwell, who worked for Epstein and was convicted of charges that she aided in the trafficking of girls. We should note that the Justice Department this summer did an assessment of documents that's in their possession, and they determined that there were no additional defendants that could be charged in crimes associated with Epstein. And this new investigation also means, though, that Congress will likely have to wait much longer for any documents to be released, because there's an effort right now gaining steam in the House to force the release of those documents. But during an ongoing...
Yeah, see, Neil Bunny is saying, Armin, the letters that Democrats released massively backfired on them. So yeah, exactly. So why would Trump repeat the same mistake? So here, this is what I'm reading. Most of the remaining material is full of names, details, and clues, and remaining materials because they already released so much. So most of the remaining material is full of names, details, and clues that can easily identify abuse victims, who are mainly minors at the time. Even with redactions, so even with like there's so much clues in them that even with redactions you would be able to tell who they are. A government. So here, raw investigative files are messy, rumors, unproven allegations, X said about Y, about Z, half-baked leads. If you release everything, you are basically handing the world a list of people who might be totally innocent but will now be permanently linked to Epstein. So it's not a responsible thing to do, like, because there's a whole bunch of people who didn't do anything wrong, but because their names are somehow on this list, you're going to basically be destroying. Like, go try to explain to the internet that this person's name being here, that doesn't mean that he was basically molesting children. Like, yeah, sure, the internet is going to believe that. So you're going to basically ruin a whole bunch of people's lives if you just dump all of this out. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense to just release everything.
Investigation, the Justice Department generally doesn't release investigative files out of concern that it would harm any possible prosecutions. Danny?
All right, Evan Bettis, thank you very much for that reporting. For more on this, let's discuss the Epstein case and where it all may be headed with Stephen Newcomb. He's a congressional reporter for Axios. Stephen, thanks so much for waking up early to talk about a lot of developing things that happened overnight. Let's start here. This breakup between President Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump calling Greene a lunatic. It's all about Epstein, of course. What do you make of this?
Yeah, good morning.
This is not all about Epstein. This is about Israel. Again, Epstein is the excuse. This is all about Israel.
Epstein, of course. What do you make of this?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. It certainly is about Epstein, but I actually think that the break between the president and Congresswoman Greene at this point is about more than just the Epstein files. I mean, if you go back to the middle of the shutdown, she was criticizing the president and Republicans for not having a plan to end the shutdown, for House Republicans not being in Washington, not having a health care plan to sort of counter what Democrats were proposing. So it's sort of all encompassing. But yeah, the breakup, it seems like this weekend has reached a new fever pitch, and Congresswoman Greene seems not to be in the good graces of President Trump anymore.
No, and that's well said. It really does feel like it's been a slow burn, certainly over the course of the shutdown, as you noted. What's interesting, Stephen, is we've seen this pressure campaign, though, ramp up this past weekend.
Guys, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party their brand does not stand for anything anymore, because the whole point of having political parties is for the uninvolved voter to be able to quickly identify who stands for what and be able to vote accordingly. But now, if you can see that we have the Republican Party, we have a whole bunch of illiberal, anti-Israeli, isolationist people fighting with a whole bunch of other Republicans who are not like that, and then the Democratic Party is the same thing. So the party lines doesn't make any sense anymore. You might as well put, I don't know, Mamdani and Marjorie Taylor Greene probably belong in the same party right now. Yeah, it doesn't. None of this make any sense. None of this doesn't make like, why do the party lines don't make any sense anymore?
Republicans,
it's basically the American politics is divided along anti-Israeli and pro-Israel. I mean, if you look at if you divide it like that, almost everything else just matches that.
Even as we've seen this pressure campaign, though, ramp up this past weekend, Republicans who are supportive of releasing the Epstein files. We think of Lauren Boebert, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Greene said in her tweet last night, quote, "And of course he's coming after me. Hard to make another example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. He's coming after me hard." That's what she's saying. Forgive me there. I guess my question to you, Stephen, is do you think this will scare any Republicans who are thinking about voting to release the Epstein files. Do you think this will scare them off from that vote next week?
It at least has not, at this point, it did not scare them from taking their names off the signature list of the discharge petition, which they needed to sort of circumvent House Republican leadership and Speaker Mike Johnson to get this to the floor. So we'll have to see next week if there is any change in the posture. But at least when the president was sort of making these calls, and in some cases even bringing, Congresswoman Boebert to the White House last week, it did not get them to take their names off of that discharge petition. And now that Congresswoman Grijalva, who was sworn in last week, signed on to that petition, those signatures are frozen. There's nothing that the president or House Republican leadership can do to get them to take their names off or stop the vote from happening. So now you're sort of at the point where, you're trying to whip no votes from Republicans, and we'll have to see if the president and the speaker are able to get any more Republicans on their side.
Last question for you, Stephen, on the Epstein story in particular. It seems like President Trump now going on the offense with this story, telling the DOJ to investigate Epstein's ties to other high-profile figures and Democrats. Isn't that just going to keep this subject in the news?
Yeah.
Certainly. And I think you've even heard, some reporting this week that there's Republicans who have told the...
Does anybody really think that Trump was involved in any of this? Like none of the files incriminates him at all. Like, does anybody actually think that here in the chat? Let me know in the chat.
Some reporting this week that there's Republicans who have told the president that he's getting...
Yeah, see, like people are saying Elon said he was in the list. This is exactly why you shouldn't be releasing all the files. Because, like, what does this mean? Like, first of all, there is not like real list. There's a whole bunch of files. And as soon as somebody is mentioned in any of these files, people are going to say, like, he was on the list. What list? There's no list. There's just thousands of pages of files regarding this case. And anyone's name being in any of these files, people are going to be like, oh, my God, the person's name is on the list. So they're basically, you ruin their lives forever. So that's why you cannot just release all the files.
Bad advice on the Epstein sort of saga, and this is going to prolong it. I do think that it being an active investigation and not being able to release records because it's an active investigation is probably a feature and not a bug of
yeah, exactly. And also there's an investigation. You don't just release everything in the middle of an investigation. Also, it's actually illegal. It's illegal to release the files when there are victims involved, and people could, even if you redact some of it, people could put 2 and 2 together and figure out who people are. So your basic is illegal. You cannot do it. Like Trump can't even do it. It's against the law. Okay, what the
strategy. But yeah, the pressure campaign is going to continue to go on. And even if it gets through the House and the House passes it, that pressure campaign is just going to move to the Senate to put pressure on Senate Republicans, and particularly Senate Majority Leader John Thune to put that bill on the floor in the Senate if it ends up passing the House.
All right. Well, before we go,
somebody in the chat is saying it's not illegal. Well, what I'm reading here, saying most of the unreleased Epstein files contain victim identities, unverified allegations, and legally protected grand jury material. So yeah, it is illegal. If the administration dumped all of it, it would expose victim, falsely implicate innocent people, and violate. It says it violate federal law. So yeah, it is illegal. They argue that what can legally be released is already out, and the rest is sealed by courts or tied to investigations that would be damaged by a full public dump. So, yeah, it is actually legal. You are wrong. But I understand is how, whenever children are involved, obviously people would justifiably get really angry. But then there's a whole bunch of people who want to go virtue signal, like, oh my God, I care so much. Why wouldn't they just do this? Like, because you didn't do your research, because you didn't, like, what? Why wouldn't this? Come on, why wouldn't you just release it? Like, I mean, if you just did 5 minutes of research, then you might understand why they can't just release the files.
I also want to make sure to ask you about healthcare and the shutdown. Meanwhile, the shutdown ending feeling like a million years ago now. Senate Democrats said they got Senate Republicans to promise a vote on healthcare.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody's saying zero evidence released so far ties Trump to this. Yeah, no. In fact, you're correct, but you're even more correct than you think. A lot of the information that we have shows that so many of the victims have actually said that Trump never did anything like wrong, like to them. Like Trump was never involved in it. So actually, some of the evidence makes Trump look good.
On these Affordable Care Act credits, are we going to see Democrats continue to put pressure on Republicans, though, to keep this promise?
And I'm not saying this as a Trump fan. Like Trump does some things that I like, and he does some things that I hate. So I'm not even saying that. I'm just following what we know so far. Like if you want to disagree with me, tell me if there's a single piece of evidence from any of these files that somehow incriminates Trump in any way. Let me know.
Are we going to see Democrats continue to put pressure on Republicans, though, to keep this promise?
Well, certainly. And I think the first thing that they need to do is negotiate amongst each other about what that product looks like next month that they get a vote on the Senate floor. We reported last night that those conversations will include Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator Ron Wyden, who is the top Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, including some of the Democrats, the moderate Democrats that were involved in negotiations to reopen the government with Republican leaders earlier this month. So, they need to put together a package that they can get support, not just from their entire caucus, but, they need the 13, 14 Republican votes that it's going to take to pass this through the Senate in December. So they need to also start outreach to the Republican colleagues to see if this is something against all odds that they can get past the Senate.
Yeah, and certainly the Democratic base will be hoping for that vote to ultimately even come up again later.
Wait, let's go see what Trump said. Yeah, you're telling me what the fuck, Armin? Well, you're not giving me an answer. You're not giving me an answer. You're not like where's the evidence that Trump did anything? I mean, once the evidence comes out, I will say like, oh, okay, we have evidence. But what the fuck, Armin, is not actually an argument. Like, that's not really an argument.
Tonight, the feud escalating between President Trump and Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the rift centering on her push to release the full Epstein files, among other issues.
You're saying, I did actually scroll up. I did scroll up. There's nothing there. Saying one person, Virginia, said Trump didn't do anything to her. That's not all people involved. I didn't say all people. I said some of the information actually makes them look good. And also, that's still not evidence for Trump doing anything. You're telling me that's wrong? Then give me evidence that Trump did something. Okay, again, I was right. You didn't actually provide any evidence that Trump did anything.
Escalating between President Trump and Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the rift centering on her push to release the full Epstein files, among other issues. The two engaging in a war of words over social media this weekend. Since taking office, Greene has overwhelmingly supported the president's agenda, but now he says she's betrayed the Republican Party. He's vowing.
Okay, this is actually very interesting that Trump is now turning against Marjorie Taylor Greene because she was one of his biggest fans. He loved her and she loved him so much. Like these two, like she was supporting Trump so much, and she became so big because Trump supported her. And the fact that these two are against each other, this is such a powerful demonstration of how big the civil war between the Republican Party is right now.
Now that the government shutdown has ended, many restrictions are being lifted, including at the nation's airports and museums. And as CBS's Willie James Inman shows us, there's now a big rift between President Trump and one of his biggest supporters.
President Trump says he will no longer support Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling the Congresswoman from Georgia, who had once been his staunch supporter, wacky. In a social media post on Friday night, the president took aim at Greene and said all she does is complain, complain, complain.
Wait, so let's actually read the whole thing. All I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. It's like
Marjorie Taylor.
Wait, read the rest. Why don't you read the rest?
Staunch supporter, wacky. In a social media post on Friday night, the president took aim at Greene and said all she does is complain.
Complain. It seemed to all begin when I sent her a poll stating that she should not run for senator or governor. She was at 12% and didn't have a chance unless, of course, she had my endorsement, which she wasn't about to get. She has told many people that she is upset that I don't return her phone calls anymore, but with 219 congressmen and women, 53 U.S. senators, 42 cabinet members, almost 200 countries, and an otherwise normal life to lead, I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. I understand that wonderful conservative people are thinking about primarying Marjorie in her district of Georgia, that they too are fed up with her and her antics. And if the right person runs, they will have my complete and unyielding support. She has gone far left, far left now. Okay, this is Trump. Trump believes in the horseshoe theory. Apparently, she has gone far left, even doing The View with their low IQ Republican hating anchors. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, okay, that was okay.
Complain.
You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not anyway. I mean, she is a very different thinking than I have. Something happened to her over the last period of a month or two where she changed, I think, politically. I think that her constituents aren't going to be happy.
The president's negative comments.
See, somebody in the chat is saying Marjorie Taylor Greene is real American, is a real American. So you can see, like, right-leaning people. By the way, how many people here in the chat like Marjorie Taylor Greene more than Trump? Let me know in the chat, because I think there's a huge shift happening. There's a major shift happening, and this is dangerous, guys. Like, on the left, we're getting more anti-Jewish. On the right, we're getting more anti-Jewish. On the left, we're getting more isolationist. On the right, we're getting more isolationist. This is dangerous for the world. This is very, oh, look at this. People in the chats, people are saying more MTJ over Trump. Maybe somebody's saying maybe now. Somebody like yes. See? Somebody saying I couldn't care less. Okay. I mean, you should care. This is the world order in danger. This is the greatest world power. These are the people. If the next president is imagine if the next president of the United States is a groyper. This is going to affect all of us. This is the world's largest military being decided by a whole. The influence of the world's largest military being decided by Jew haters and isolationists. This is going to impact every single person on this planet.
About Greene come as she continues.
Aren't going to be happy.
The president's negative comments about Greene come as she continues to push for the Justice Department to release all files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
These women have been waiting, some of them for decades. I talked to several victims that were raped by Jeffrey Epstein back in the 90s. And so this is information that has needed to come out for a very long time. And the American people have demanded it. And so the American people deserve to see transparency from their government. Rich, powerful people should not be protected. That is completely wrong.
House Speaker Mike Johnson said Wednesday that a bill that calls...
This is not about protecting rich, powerful people, you freaking moron. This is actually about protecting the victims. And it's illegal to release the files. It's illegal to release them. It's illegal. There's investigations going on. And you cannot just... People are being accused of all sorts of stuff. Without in those files, you're going to ruin their lives. I mean, if they do release those files, a whole bunch of these people with their names in the files should go sue the federal government.
That is completely wrong.
House Speaker Mike Johnson said Wednesday that a bill that calls for the release of all the Justice Department's Jeffrey Epstein case files will be put to a vote next week. In other government news, a number of restrictions that were imposed because of the record-breaking government shutdown are being lifted this weekend. The FAA began rolling back mandated cuts to flights throughout the country. Museums in the nation's capital and the National Zoo also began reopening this weekend. And SNAP food assistance that have been put on hold for the month of November because of the shutdown are expected to be released in the next week. Willie James Inman, CBS News, West Palm.
Let me see this one. Hold on.
Around the nation, out in Washington, politics are heating up as President Trump says he no longer plans to support Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. This comes as a push for.
Yeah, this is going to. I'm not gonna. So yeah, that's actually a reverse like a kind of a like an endorsement, because a lot of people in MAGA are frustrated with Trump. Very frustrated with Trump, especially over migration and especially over Israel above all else. So, and Marjorie Taylor Greene now has the blessing of Nick Fuentes, and this is where the Republican Party is heading right now. And if Trump, which a whole bunch of MAGA people are frustrated with, if he comes out and says that I no longer support Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think that's actually going to make a lot of people, a lot of MAGA people who are like release the files, more sympathetic to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, a lot of Republicans might even not know. A lot of Americans might not even know who she is. This is an internet meme now. Why aren't they releasing the file? They must be in it. They must have done something. That's why they're not releasing it. And if this woman, I mean, Marjorie is doing something very smart. The fact that this has turned into an internet meme, that everybody on the right and left just assumes that if you are against releasing the file, it must mean that you are in the files, and it must mean that you're I don't know, you know what, right? I'm trying to not get removed from YouTube. Then Marjorie, if she wants to, she used Trump to become this popular, and now she's using Epstein to become even more popular than Trump. This is a really good way for her to introduce herself to more Americans about as the person that is fighting for the victims against these evil rich people who the laws don't apply to her. In fact, the reason why this is happening is because the laws are being applied. The laws are being applied. That's why all of the files are not being released. And again, most people don't even know that most of it has already been released. Thousands of pages have already been released.
To support Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes, Gigi is saying you can remove victims' info from the files, for fuck's sakes. For fuck's sakes, I have explained this to you for multiple times. You don't seem to get it. Even if you redact the names, if the remaining information is already enough for people to put two and two together and be able to tell who they are. I don't know if you have a hard time. Why is it that you have a hard time understanding this? Because this is the third time I'm explaining it, and you think like you understand something that others don't and that I don't. But no, it's you're that missing the point. It's you who is missing the point.
He no longer plans to support
like look at the argument. Kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. That's the level of arguments. It's not worth arguing with people who don't want to be informed.
Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. This comes as a push for the Justice Department to release all Jeffrey Epstein files will intensify. Willie James Inman has the latest.
No, now you can't spell.
President Trump says he will no longer support Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling the Congresswoman from Georgia, who had once been his staunch supporter, wacky. In a social media post on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, guys, let's believe the woman. Let's take the side of the woman who believe that Jews have space lasers, that they could take out people from space. Yeah, let's go with the Jewish space lasers lady. Okay, that's the right side to be on for sure.
Who had once been his staunch supporter, wacky. In a social media post on Friday night,
Oh, okay, you made the typo. That's okay. Sorry, I misread that.
Who had once been his staunch supporter, wacky. In a social media post on Friday night, the president took aim at Greene and said all she does is complain.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is not anyway. I mean, she is a very different thinking than I have.
Look how sensitive you are. Like honestly, this side of you is enough for me to unsub. Oh, like okay, so I want a channel that I want an echo chamber. I want to go somewhere where people just repeat to me the things that I believe. I don't want my ideas to be challenged. I just want to hear somebody agreeing with me and telling me that you're correct. I am a sensitive little snowflake that doesn't want to hear opinions that are not aligned with my ideas. I'm just this weak and pathetic. I want to go live in an echo chamber where everybody is just jerking everyone else off and everybody is just congratulating each other for having the correct views. Okay, bye-bye.
Something happened to her over the last period of a month or two where she changed, I think, politically. I think that her constituents aren't going to be happy.
The president's negative comments about Greene come as she continues to push for the Justice Department to release all files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
These women have been waiting, some of them for decades. I talked to several victims that were raped by Jeffrey Epstein back in the 90s. And so this is information that has needed to come out for a very long time, and the American people have demanded it.
House Speaker Mike Johnson said Wednesday that a bill that calls for the release of all the Justice Department's Jeffrey Epstein case files will be put to a vote next week.
Meanwhile, a number of restrictions that were imposed because of the record-breaking government shutdown are being lifted this weekend.
The FAA began rolling back mandated cuts to flights throughout the country.
Yeah. We know. Let me see this one. I want to see what these people say.
You know, I asked President Trump in the Oval Office about those criticisms of his administration from Marjorie Taylor Greene. We are now in the middle of witnessing a major blow up between the two of them. One that a lot of people probably predicted would or did not expect would ever happen, with the president attacking her and her now calling the president, saying that he is lying about her and that she believes this is all over him trying to bully other Republicans into not voting in favor of that discharge petition on the Epstein files this week. I wonder what you make of what's playing out.
Yeah, guys, even though I think Trump is innocent in all of this, it does, like when it comes to, because people don't actually investigate this and don't do the research and just look at the surface level, the fact that Trump is making an effort to stop all of this makes him look really bad, you know, because people don't actually go look at the reasons for why they're doing what they're doing. So, you know, it doesn't matter. Like Trump is going to look really, really, really bad in all of this. And this is Marjorie is just basically jumping on it to take advantage of his fall to make herself, you know, more popular.
It's like they put truth serum in the MAGA water cooler, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump are both condemned to tell the truth about the other. Everything each says is right. They are narcissists. Marjorie Taylor Greene is right that Donald Trump has no domestic agenda except to harm ordinary people, and Donald Trump is right that Marjorie Taylor Greene is crazy. So it's useful information all around.
Okay, this is the type of black and white analysis that is people want. If you come and say like, oh, Trump does certain things that I like and he does certain things that I don't like, that I hate, people are like, oh no, Armin, pick a side. You have to be either completely anti-Trump or for Trump. But this is the kind of analysis that people like. And look at he's probably somebody who's very educated. But look at the absolutist statement. Listen to this again.
Truth about the other. Everything each says is right. They are narcissists. Marjorie Taylor Greene is right that Donald Trump has no domestic agenda except to harm ordinary people, and Donald.
Okay, yeah, Trump he's just in it to harm. Like he just wakes up and like, I wonder how I could harm more ordinary people. That's his agenda. That's the reason why. That's what motivates him, harming more ordinary people. Like, what the hell is that? A cartoon villain? Is like, guys, even if you wrote that in a cartoon, you know, in a cartoon story, like in a children's story, people were like, okay, even the kids would be like, okay, that's very poorly written. Like, what the hell? Like, nobody would. What the fuck? Like, this is what passes as analysis, political analysis.
That Donald Trump has no domestic agenda except to harm ordinary people, and Donald Trump is right that Marjorie Taylor Greene is crazy. So it's useful information all around. But what I worry most about this and the Epstein files and all the things that Trump has tried to keep control of, escaping his control, is he has one big distraction in his hand, and I fear he may be about to deploy it. We are seeing in the Caribbean right now the largest buildup of U.S. naval forces in the region since the Cuban Missile Crisis. There's no plan. There's no authorization by Congress. There are no regional partners. It is not a war that should be fought in this way at this time. But one thing it would do is change the subject.
So you're worried that he could take action on a.
No, I don't know if it's going to change the subject, because even if that war is about completely something else, even if it has nothing to do with Epstein files, even I don't know if it does or it doesn't, but even if it doesn't, in fact, it's going to bring people back to the subject. People are going to connect it to the Epstein files. People are going to say with no evidence that the whole point of that war is to distract people from the Epstein file, and all it's going to do is going to actually make people talk more about the Epstein files.
Foreign policy move to distract from what's happening in.
Oh, look at this. Look at the great analysis in the chat. Armin is a complete scumbag. Wow, you are so smart. You shown me. I don't know if I would ever recover from that. Actually, maybe I should just end this all right now.
Washington.
Yeah. I think that explains.
Oh, Gigi, why are you still here? You said you're gonna unsub. You like me. Come on, you know you like me.
A lot of his foreign policy operations, but the forces are there. They've been pulled away from other theaters where they might be needed. They're building up to something. Again, they have no authorization. They have no allies. They have no goals. But boy, would it change the subject. And boy, does Donald Trump right now need a subject change.
Yeah, and we've seen what's been playing out. Obviously, the president was saying tonight he didn't know if he'd take that step. He wasn't sure. We know he's been briefed on options there. But on this, in and of itself, do you think that that is the reason he's criticizing Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, is because he doesn't want other Republicans coming out and what we've told could be a huge snowball effect next week when Speaker Mike Johnson actually puts this on the floor, that a lot of Republicans could end up bucking the White House and voting for this?
I think he genuinely can't help himself. I don't know that Donald Trump has.
Guys, Trump, his popularity is plummeting, and this is the right time for Republicans to try to, because his popularity plummeting means that there's a power vacuum, means that the Trump brand is, because a lot of Republicans were united behind Trump because of his to ride on his popularity, because Trump's approval meant that you become more powerful. And when his popularity goes down, that means his approval is not as powerful anymore. And that means that there's a power vacuum. And now they're competing against each other to fill that power vacuum. And in this chaos, because the Groypers have the upper hand in the narratives right now, at least in the online narratives and everyone else, they might be able to grab a big piece of this pie in this chaos, right? And if you tell me no, Armin, the Groypers are not really real, they're just, this is the online Groypers, and their narrative is just part of online culture. It has no real place in real American politics. Yeah, this is the only people who are too online say this. Well, go look at the views of Marjorie Taylor Greene and compare it to Nick Fuentes and tell me how aligned they are. And then look at the fact that Marjorie is getting more and more popular. So it is actually part of the real world.
Fully formed strategic plans. He has a lot of impulses. He's also testing the old magic. After one of the things that has happened after the elections in New Jersey and Virginia and elsewhere, and Georgia maybe most significantly, because there was an all-state race that Republican candidates lost, is a lot of Republicans have to be thinking, what about my future? I used to think the greatest hazard to my future might be that Donald Trump would criticize me, but maybe actually now he can't help me and might even hurt me. And that's a little bit of discipline lost. Marjorie Taylor.
Okay, listen to this guy's idiotic takes. I'll be right back. I just need to use the washroom. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Greene may be the test case where a lot of less inflammatory Republicans are saying, if she gets away with this, we can all get away with it.
Yeah, and she's obviously someone who has been a huge advocate of his and very loyal to the president, especially after January 6th when everything happened. And obviously, no one can forget Biden's.
She's not a good actor. I mean, she's not a hero of the Republic, but she is somebody who may be just crazy enough to actually believe the things that Donald Trump says without believing them.
So a lot has happened tonight. Buckle up. Marjorie Taylor Greene is learning what it feels like to be on Trump's bad side. She has been one of the most vocal Republicans calling for the full release of the Justice Department's investigative files on Jeffrey Epstein. And now President Trump tonight is unendorsing. He is withdrawing his endorsement of Marjorie Taylor Greene and writing on Truth Social that all I see wacky Marjorie do is complain, complain, complain. And then he added that I can't take a ranting lunatic's call every day. There was a lot there. So you can go to, and
guys, by the way, look at how many people in the chat are saying that they're on Marjorie Taylor Greene's side. And just remember that this is not a channel that endorses that side. So given that just randomly on this channel, you see a lot of people taking the position of Marjorie Taylor Greene against Trump, this should worry you. Like, this is the world going in the wrong direction. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a crazy person. Okay, she's legit a crazy person. And look how she's using the Epstein files to become so popular. Guys, it's amazing how the future of the entire planet, okay, because again, United States is the world power that maintains the world order after World War II, is United States Army. It's all like they're using this conspiracy theory on Epstein to basically, I mean, if it wasn't this, it would be something else, honestly. So I don't think it's all about Epstein. Is even if they couldn't find, because we are moving in that direction a little bit anyway. So I don't think them not having the Epstein files as an excuse would be an issue. But let me see, Drew, thank you for the super chat. Drew is saying Fuentes doesn't like women in politics, and Marjorie Taylor Greene speaks against the Catholic Church. Only hate binds these hypocrites. Exactly. Jew hatred. Just like among different Islamic groups that hate each other, when it comes to Jew hatred, all of a sudden they all get on the same page and united. It's the same thing with everyone else. All of these, the woke right, the woke left, communists and Islamists, all of them, Jew hatred just brings them together and makes them. This is why Jew hatred is so useful to these people, because nothing else will be able to make them work with each other. That's a very good point.
And then, talking about a lot, then MTG fired back with screenshots of text messages that she claims.
All right, so we read what Trump said against Marjorie Taylor Greene. She posted this against Trump. So I hope she reads through it. So this was Trump's post against Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Marjorie Taylor Greene's post against Trump, I hope she reads it.
There was a lot.
If she doesn't read it, I'm going to read that whole thing.
So you can go to, and then talking about a lot, then MTG fired back with screenshots of text messages that she claims where she claims that Trump is lying and that she did not call him, also saying that it is astonishing, really, how hard he is fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out. She argued that she has been one of Trump's strongest supporters, but that she doesn't, quote, worship or serve Donald Trump. On top of,
wait, so you're not going to read the whole thing? Like, this is a huge deal, and you're not going to read the whole. Okay, I know that the font is very small, so I'm going to try to read the whole thing. Okay, so Marjorie Taylor Greene posted some text messages that she had with. I don't think Trump was talking to him. I think it's just somebody who manages the account of Trump that was talking to her, right? But anyways, she posted those. I wish you would include the actual full image instead of the cropped version. Somebody tell me where is this on Facebook or on Twitter? Because I looked on her Twitter account and I didn't see these. Did she delete them? Anyways, let me see. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she posted this. President Trump just attacked me and lied about me. I haven't called him at all. But I don't, let me see. But I did send these text messages today. Apparently, this is what's sent him over the edge. The Epstein files. And of course, he's coming after me hard to make an example to scare all the other Republicans before next week's vote to release the Epstein files. It's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out of that he actually goes to this level. What? The Epstein files from coming out? Oh, there's a comma missing here. Okay. So she's saying it's astonishing, really, how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out. That he's actually goes to this level, right? But really, most Americans wish he would fight this hard to help the forgotten men and women of America who are fed up with foreign wars. I told guys, did I not tell you that this is about Israel? This is all about Israel. Epstein is an excuse. Look, I was proven correctly. I was proven right. Look at this. But really, most Americans wish he would fight this hard to help the forgotten men and women of America who are fed up with foreign wars and foreign causes, are going broke trying to feed their families, and are losing hope of ever achieving the American dream. That's what I voted for. I have supported President Trump with too much of my precious time, too much of my own money, and fought harder for him even when almost all other Republicans turned their back and denounced him. But I don't worship or serve Donald Trump. I worship God. Jesus is my savior, and I serve my district, GA14, and the American people. I remain the same today as I've always been, and I will continue to pray this administration will be successful because the American people desperately deserve what they voted for. For me, I remain America first and America only. Okay. So you're an isolationist. You're an isolationist. These idiots never understand that if you care about the American people's lives depends on the world order maintained by the U.S. military. That the price of the goods and services that they pay for, and the income that they receive, depends all on the international trade backed by the stability and security that only the US military all around the world can provide. These people don't understand that. And I don't know how we could make them understand that. I don't think there's any hope for us to make them understand that. But I think Trump understands that. I think Trump does understand that. But these people don't.
That she doesn't, quote, worship or serve Donald Trump. On top of unendorsing, he actually said that he would support anyone who would be primarying her in the upcoming election. Who wants to take this one on?
Well, I can tell you that is not unusual in politics. Political romances are often short-lived. And she has been critical of him not only about the Epstein files, but about his involvement in foreign affairs. And I don't mean with women. I mean in various parts of the world.
You said it. No.
Oh my God, what a stupid joke. Affairs like with women, foreign. Oh my God. So cringe.
And I don't mean with women. I mean in
God.
various parts of the world.
You said it. No.
Just to clear the table on that one. And so it's not surprising that they have had a breakup of sorts. After all, he didn't give her a ring. He just supported her for a little while.
Listen, this fire is spreading. I mean, right? It started off talking about Epstein in the beginning. Then during the shutdown, she was one of the few Republicans that correctly identified Donald Trump's.
Oh, Amir, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate your support. Thank you, Amir.
Unwillingness to deal with the ACA subsidies and lower healthcare costs for Americans as being one of the reasons why the shutdown occurred.
Yeah, she was very outspoken about that.
Now she's talking about foreign policy. This is not going away. Whatever is going on between them seems to only be heating up, and I think the rest of us should get the popcorn.
I think they're here for it. And a war with
Yeah, just get the popcorn and watch the world order be just, I don't know, being challenged right in front of our eyes. Guys, I don't know what we're going to do because I don't know if we have any populists defending US's involvement around the world, capitalism. I mean, the Republicans are also now in favor of government involvement in solving the economy. Like, this is like, who's standing for capitalism anymore? Who's standing for free markets? Like, look at it. Like the Republican Party was supposed to be the party that supports a strong American military, that it shows, exerts its influence all around the world and maintains order all around the world, that stands for free markets and capitalism and business and trade. And now we're saying that the left is actually moving away from that, but also the Republicans are also moving away from that. Do we have any populists that could actually defend the values that actually makes nations and the world better? Like, we need some of that. We need some of that. Where is that? Like, we don't have any person to stand for all of those good ideas. Oh, we have a couple of super chats. Thank you, guys. So, Gagin American is saying, I would like to start seeing taxes from other nations who enjoy our protection. The $1 trillion defense budgets feel like a planetary security force, not a national one. I mean, no, that doesn't make any sense because America is actually benefiting from all of that. America is benefiting more from that than the rest of them. So they will call your bluff. They're like, okay, we won't pay. Pull your security out. Like, because America won't, because America needs this. It's not just them that needs it. America needs this as well. America relies on the world international order and the world and the global trade. So America needs the international security, and they're benefiting more from it than other people. So yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. FLP saying, love you, Armin, and decent chat folks. Keep on keeping on. Well, thank you, FLP. FLP, would you turn against me if you disagree with me? Would you like unsub and leave here if you disagree with me? Because some people are only here to hear me agreeing with them. Would you say if that happens? Oh, hi. So you're saying thoughts on missing retiree bank strikes in I need to, well, that's not this show, and I need to look more into that. So yeah. But that's not. But thank you for supporting the show.
Words, sorry, Scott. A war with words with Donald Trump.
FLP said I will still say. Well, I love you, FLP. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you for not looking for echo chambers and tolerating disagreements.
Been here for it. And a war with words, sorry, Scott. A war with words with Donald Trump is such a risky business that I cannot believe she has the bravery to engage in it, because even if she was right, she's still going to lose.
Is there an example of anyone beating Donald Trump at this game?
Never. This is his game, and he's great at it. And she's barking up a tree that she's going to fall on her really hard.
You know, it's interesting.
I don't know about that. I hope you're right, but Trump's popularity is right now, I don't know, down the toilet, and her popularity is rising, and Groypers are the fastest growing movement. I mean, what you're saying is basically the same thing that people were saying about Trump when nobody assumed that he's going to be able to be president. It sounds like deja vu to me. Again, I'm not saying that Trump will lose this. I'm just saying that we should be concerned.
He has some.
I mean, even if you're anti-Trump, please understand that a Groyper president is far, 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 far worse than Trump. Can we acknowledge that?
She's barking up a tree that she's going to fall on her really hard.
You know, it's interesting. He has some people who profess to be strong supporters who do oppose him more often than the people that you might not think are his strongest supporters. She's one of them. Thomas Massie in Kentucky is another one. Rand Paul, my home state senator, he takes on Trump, although they profess to be Trump supporters. In this case, I think he had the order out of order. I trace all this back to his decision, the righteous decision to strike Iran. She was against it. So were some of the people who occupy that wing of the party. He defied them. And since that time, they all seem to be stridently picking at him on this issue or that. And then, of course, everybody knows in Washington, Miles, you know, the fastest way to get in front of a television camera if you're a Republican is to come out and crap on Donald Trump. And so that is what she is doing.
But, you know, Scott,
that is what she is doing.
I trace it back further than that, Scott.
Over these issues, and that's what happened.
Scott, I trace it further back than that. I trace it back to 10 years ago when you said Donald Trump was an authoritarian. And you know what, Scott, I've got to hand it to you. That was a remarkable forecast, because 10 years later, I think you called it. Here's Donald Trump today.
You guys haven't seen authoritarianism. What the fuck are you talking about? You know what? No, I shouldn't say that. I would like let the Groypers have it so that you guys could actually experience authoritarianism for once. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, the fact that Trump is so limited in what he can do, all the things that he wants to do, that you guys, Americans are spoiled. Americans are spoiled. Like, they're like, oh, Trump is an authoritarian. Like, you guys have no idea. I mean, accept this from this Iranian who lived under an authoritarian regime, you have no idea what that means. You just like, oh my God. Yeah, you have no idea what that feels like to actually live under an authoritarian regime. Okay. Just keep using that label against people. How about you have actually a solid criticism instead? Asian American saying, disagree, Armin. I'm still here. I'm here to learn, not to get glazed. Okay, nations should come together and create a joint security force, at least for optics. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that. I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, the United States doesn't go to other nations and just builds military bases in their nation without their permission. They have defense pacts. They have agreements. They come up with joint security agreements before they do that. Like everywhere US is present right now, it's based on a joint security agreement that they have with that country. And also Asian American is saying, I've never been so proud of our court system. Well, see, Asian American understands that America is working as it should, and it's not authoritarianism even under Trump.
The man with the heart and soul of a fascist, showing us he now has the bona fides by tonight ordering investigations into American citizens. That's why members of his party, that's why members of his running the executive against him.
Why are you so upset he's running the executive branch?
Wait, ordering investigations, which the president legally has the right to do, is authoritarianism? I'm telling you, these people don't know what these words mean.
For the same reasons you predicted he shouldn't. For the same reasons, Scott, you said he violated his oath and he should never be back in that office.
I happily voted
That's why I'm upset for the man being in the Oval Office.
I happily voted for him 3 times.
I know that.
The alternative was terrible.
And a lot of your friends were shocked.
Yeah, well, a lot of my friends would have been shocked at you trying to subvert the elected president of the United States, which you did.
Well, I proudly did. I proudly
Some
said
mid-level
to the
staffer
country
substituting his
who
judgment
this
for the
man
elected
was.
president of the United States.
Well,
Good
Scott,
luck,
I would have
brother.
loved to have seen you stand up to it.
Good luck.
Back to MTG. Is it the sign of a changing tide? Is it the sign, or is it a singular one back and forth between one Republican who is getting into a fight with Donald Trump? Or do you think there is a possibility that it is the beginnings of Republicans seeing past the Donald Trump era?
The short answer is that we don't know.
Because you've got like Thomas Massey saying exactly that. Like your vote on this discharge petition is going to outlast Donald Trump's time here. So you need to consider that when you make your decision.
But if we keep paying attention, what we see is that last week, the president got his clock clean in an election. All the Republicans got their clock clean in an election. This week, we see what's happening with the Epstein files. So next week, we're going to see them take a vote. And if we see a bunch of Republicans defect on the Epstein files, I think what we're seeing is the real testing of the waters to find out whether or not you can oppose Donald Trump and still get elected. When we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Ooh, this is actually a very good way to see where American politics is heading, especially on the right. The vote, whether how many Republicans are going to vote for all the files to be released. Because guys, remember, voting for all the files to be released is not a vote for all the files to be released. This is all about whether or not this has nothing to do with the victims or trying to get justice. It has nothing to do with that. This is basically a testing of seeing how much you could challenge Trump and basically take some of his power and take advantage of the power vacuum that has been created and become more popular because of it. People are going to look at this and see how safe is it right now to challenge Trump. This is what all of this is about. This has nothing to do with wanting justice for victims. It has nothing to do with that. This is just a excuse to test how weak or strong Trump is, and everybody how much of a piece I could take out of this if Trump is actually not as important anymore.
The one thing we haven't talked about yet is her fundraising prowess. And according to sources, she is the most popular fundraiser in the Republican Party other than
Is she? Is she?
And still get elected. When we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, the one thing we haven't talked about yet is her fundraising prowess. And according to sources, she is the most popular fundraiser in the Republican Party other than Donald.
Wow. Okay, guys. You believe me that this is not just an internet meme? That the Groyper movement is growing? That's a big deal. That's a really big deal that she can do that. That shows her popularity in the real world. And like, no, Armin Groypers are just online stuff. Go outside and touch grass. This is not the real world. Marjorie Taylor Greene, her views are very, very much like Nick Fuentes. And apparently among Republicans, she's only second to Trump when it comes to her popularity and her power to fundraise. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
And still get elected. When we talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, the one thing we haven't talked about yet is her fundraising prowess. And according to sources, she is the most popular fundraiser in the Republican Party other than Donald Trump.
She's
If
at
that's the
12%
case,
in the
they're
polls.
going to divide up.
This prediction about no one's going to care about this.
Wait, let me see. We got a super chat. Gaging American say, not gonna lie, ICE agents made arrest near where I worked, and it has some of us spooked. I have copies of my birth and marriage certificate on hand, just keeping my head down and just going about my day. Yeah, I think the whole the way to get rid of mass migration is not with all of these ICE raids. It doesn't look good, and it causes a whole bunch of. I think the best it causes a lot of anxiety and lack of trust. I think the best way to get rid of mass migration is instead of doing all of these ICE raids. I mean, you need some ICE raids, but not like this. I think you should go after people who employ them. I think you should have like really high penalties, including prison, for corporations that employ workers who are here, who are in the United States illegally. That's the way you should go. You should remove the incentives rather than chasing them. If you remove the incentives, they will just go home. If you stop giving them free stuff, or like free buses or free this or free that, and you remove employment opportunities for illegal workers, you don't need to spend so much money to getting them out of the country. They will just leave. Okay, that's how you do it. Why are you making yourself look so bad by making children cry while you go arrest their mom in front of them? Like, what the hell is that? That's not smart at all. So yeah, I'm against mass migration, but I think that's the more proper way to do it.
Asking you a question. I wasn't predicting it.
No, you said people were. Somebody said that this was going to outlive.
Tom Massey.
And the prediction that this was going to outlive.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you wouldn't actually accidentally kick out somebody that deserves to stay in the country, because anybody who's legally in the United States, then you wouldn't get some ICE agents attacking them because they have the documents to work in the country.
Somebody said that this was going to outlive.
Tom Massey.
And the prediction that this was going to outlive.
Mm-hmm.
I totally disagree with that. I think right now more people are worried about whether they can watch ESPN on YouTube TV tomorrow than they care about this. And that's certainly going to be true in 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years from today.
Yeah, it's true that not that many people are voting based on the Epstein files, right? But that's not the point. The point is that the people who have these views are actually very, very popular, and they're doing a lot of fundraising. They're very good at fundraising, and fundraising eventually would lead to successful campaigns, and successful campaigns will actually lead to more votes.
Hold on, but what they do care about, they do
get their clocks cleaned last
they do
week.
care about
They
the fact
did
the
not.
president is sort of breaking everything.
Right.
They see a hole in the White House right now. I was in Detroit last weekend for an event, and it was the number one thing people came up to me at the scholarship dinner to ask about. Is it okay for the president to tear down the White House without anybody's permission?
That was the number.
Yes, it is okay. It is okay. The presidents get to change the White House. They get to decorate it. They get to renovate it. What a fucking stupid thing to be upset about. Oh my God.
Is it okay for the president to tear down the White House without anybody's permission?
That was the number one thing.
That was the number one thing that people brought up unprovoked.
I keep hearing this over and over again. Is like, no one cares about this because they only care about that.
You know what they care about? They can't buy a house.
That they can't. They care about affordability.
Yeah, Nail Bunny is saying, Armin, if they had kids, they should have gone through the proper channels to become citizens. That is their responsibility. I know. I'm not. Yeah, that doesn't negate anything I said. I'm just saying it just looks really ugly, and you're going to lose in elections. Whatever justification you want to have for it, at the end of the day, politics is about winning the battle of narratives as well, and that looks really bad. You cannot deny that just looks very bad. It might not look bad to you because you're like, well, they're responsible for it. just because it doesn't look bad to you, it doesn't mean that it doesn't look bad for other people. It's a cleaner way to fix the situation by removing the incentives.
And that food costs too much, but they don't care about the White House. The fact is, a president
don't
who
care
can't
about the
model
White House.
the White
Many
remodel
people
the White
care about
House,
the White
that's
House.
ridiculous.
Every
A president
visitor-
who
Many
can wage
Americans
war,
care about the
who
White
can
House.
make
You
major
don't care about the White
decisions,
House.
can't remodel a room in the White House.
The Americans never remembered that they cared about the White House until the Trump derangement symptom made them care about the White House. It's amazing that all of these Americans are like, oh my God, no, please don't touch the White House. They didn't care about all of these BLM people destroying monuments and a lot of historical, a lot of, like, they didn't care about that. When a bunch of BLM people were illegally destroying American monuments, they didn't give a shit. But when the president legally is renovating the White House, all of a sudden these people are like, oh my God, not the White House. I mean, mind you, these are a whole bunch of people that hate everything about anything that is a symbol of America. I mean, if it was up to a lot of these people who are complaining about the White House, they will burn the whole thing to the ground. And now they act like they care about the White House. None of these people care. They just care about attacking Trump.
He tore it down. He tore down a third of the White House.
In the middle of a government shutdown.
He's not tearing it down. He's expanding it. He's making it better. God damn it, these people.
Down my garage without getting a permit from the city.
Oh my God. It's his house. What is this one?
Breakup heard round the world. President Trump severing ties with his at least one.
Wait, how did she introduce this?
It's the political breakup heard round the world. President Trump severing ties with his at least one of his closest allies, declaring, I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, even calling for primary challenges against his one-time loyalists and attacking her as, quote, wacky, a ranting lunatic, a rhino, and a traitor. This is days before the House of Representatives is set to vote on releasing the Epstein files. It's a stunning breach between two MAGA leaders, one of whom is here with me now exclusively for her first.
Oh, wow. Okay. We get to listen to her speak after this whole mess. I didn't know we have that. That's fantastic.
Interview since the president.
This is her first interview after the president attacked her like that. Okay, holy cow, let's listen to this.
One of whom is here with me now exclusively for her first interview since the president cut ties. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, thank you so much for being here, as you just heard. And I know you saw the president says he's withdrawing support for you, encouraging primary challengers. You were one of his biggest supporters. What do you think happened here?
Well, Dana, thank you for having me on. And that is true. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected. And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration. And I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor. And that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
Oh no, people can't call you a traitor because, oh my God. I mean, you are a traitor. You are as un-American as they could get. So you are a traitor, but people cannot call you a traitor because it will put your, like, look at this, playing the victim card. Oh my God, this is embarrassing.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for?
Like, yeah, like, oh my God, this is going to radicalize people, says the most radical politician in the United States.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims.
Guys, this is the horseshoe theory. She's playing the victim like the leftist. And she's like, oh, I stand with women. Like, this has nothing to do with women. You're using those victims as a way to make yourself popular. This is so leftist. This is the horseshoe theory in action.
Shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand.
Then why would you want to release the last pages that reveals who they are against their own interest?
With survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files. And I don't believe that
it's illegal to release all of the files. Oh my God, it's illegal. There are information there that is going to ruin innocent people's lives if they're released. God damn it.
That rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women.
It's not about rich, powerful people. It's about the victims. It's about protecting the victims and people who might have been just randomly accused in some of those files. And now if you guys, just look at the internet. Every time anybody's name is in any of these files, people are like, oh my God, he must have molested a child somewhere because of the guys. There's thousands and thousands of pages and many people are mentioned, people who haven't done anything. And every time somebody's mentioned, people are like, oh my God, he's a child molester. So of course you cannot just release all of the files. You'll ruin people's lives.
And I will continue to do my small part to get the files released. You say
somebody keeps saying it's not illegal. I have to keep reading this to you. Most of the unreleased Epstein files, again, remember, thousands of pages have already been released. But here's the remaining. Most of the unreleased Epstein's files contain victim identities, unverified allegations, and legally protected grand jury material. If the administration dumped all of it, it would expose victims, falsely implicate innocent people, and violate federal law. What can legally be released is already out, and the rest is sealed by courts or tied to investigations that would be damaged by a full public dump. So yeah, you're wrong, I'm right. Get over it.
Said on X yesterday, quote, it's astonishing really how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, and that
they've already been released. There's already thousands of pages that has already been released. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
it really makes you wonder what is in those files. Are you suggesting there's something in the Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
You're just calling him a child molester. That's what you're doing.
Well, I think that's the part that has so many people confused is.
And again, somebody in the chat is saying, don't release victims' identities. Guys, I already explained this 1,000 times. Even if you redact some of the names, the other information will, the people who looked at the files, the other information is, if you put 2 and 2 together, you would be able to tell who these people are. That's why already most of it has been released. The remaining ones, even without the names, would actually implicate a whole bunch of people that have other victims or who have been mentioned without actually being involved in any crimes.
That the women themselves, that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support. I would like to see all of the women there with support. I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the question.
Go look at them. Most of them have been released. You don't know what's in the files. Most of it has been released. And look at this idiot is saying excuses. Well, that's actually facts, and excuses is not an argument. You're just an idiot.
Everyone is asking is why fight this so hard?
Well, before this,
why for the sake of the victims that you're pretending to protect. That's why. But and also because it's illegal. You fucking idiots.
Everyone is asking is why fight this so hard?
Well, before this blow up, you sort of alluded to this just now. You said you were confident the president wouldn't be implicated. Are you still confident of that?
Yeah, exactly. FLP in the chat is so correct. FLP saying people are just latching on something like Epstein files to ignore actual serious situations right now, in my opinion. I completely agree with you, FLP.
I'm listening to the women. Those are the ones that are saying that he did nothing wrong. Virginia Giuffre even said under oath that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, and she wrote it in her book. So I'm continuing to listening to the women, and I think their voices should be the loudest.
The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Oh, Marjorie is going to get so much money because of all of this. I don't think Trump could remove him. I think Trump's position against her is going to backfire. I think maybe, I'm not sure, but I think she's going to become so much more relevant. I think she's going to become such a big part of America's politics.
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually, I never had a conversation at all with the president about running for Senate or running for Georgia. And those were decisions I came to on my own, that I don't want to have anything to do with the Senate. I think the past 2 months of the government shutdown should have shown America exactly why I would never want to be there. I think it's a very broken institution that serves the uniparty and doesn't serve the American people and how they vote. And I decided that I didn't want to run for governor this cycle either. I very much want to do the job that I'm in. Everyone else says I'm running for something, but all I want to do is serve Georgia's 14th district. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
So he said it pretty explicitly. Are you saying he's lying, or did he at least get that message to somebody on your political team instead?
I'm not sure. That is untrue what he said. I don't know if he's being fed wrong information. I honestly have no idea in that area, but it is absolutely factually not true. Nor have I called him, and White House logs would prove that. His own cell phone records would prove it. I have not been calling the president, but I did post messages that I had sent to him, and that was to protect, get involved. This is important. The American people want the Epstein files released. And, I've stood with the president. I have disagreed with him at times, Dana, and I'm allowed to do that. I think that's the most important thing we can do as Americans. And I'm urging my party. I've been putting massive pressure on my party and our speaker to pass the agenda that the American people vote for. That's the agenda that I fought for. Those are the campaign promises I made. And I can disagree with the president at times, particularly this past Monday on the Marines' 250th anniversary, when he honored the new Syrian president, who is an Al-Qaeda terrorist and was wanted by our
was an Al-Qaeda terrorist. At the end of, guys, I know I'm as skeptical as Jolani, as the rest of you, but at some point you want to show other evil organizations that there is something in it for them if they change their ways. So you cannot be an absolutist. I see we have 2 super chats. I will respond to the super chats once Marjorie Taylor Greene stops talking.
President, who is an Al-Qaeda terrorist and was wanted by our government for years with a $10 million bounty up until March of this year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You need to be pragmatic. You need to signal to other terrorist organizations that you need to use the carrot and the stick. I don't care about your, virtue signaling about you being more anti-people who were part of Al-Qaeda. I mean, you don't have to trust the guy. You could be skeptical. But at the end of the day, you need to signal to other terrorist organizations that if they stop their ways and work aligned with U.S. interests, there is something in it for them. That's how pragmatism works.
I very much am against that. I think that was very hurtful to the great men and women who served over in the Middle East and were sent there, and many of them that were killed and injured and live with PTSD to this day from fighting Al-Qaeda. So there's things I disagree with, and I am allowed to do so.
Well, you mentioned the Syrian leader at the White House. You've also been critical of President Trump over foreign entanglements, H-1B visas. Now he's moving military assets towards Venezuela. I do want to play something that he said this week.
Don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else, and MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Do you agree? Do you think he?
I think MAGA was your idea, but you're losing it. MAGA is turning into something else.
MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Anyways, let me actually respond to your super chats before we go to the rest of Marjorie Taylor Greene's idiotic takes. Asian American saying, "Isn't burning the White House a Canadian tradition?" It didn't look good when he hosted a Gatsby party when he refused emergency SNAP funds. Yeah, for optics, it didn't look good. But hey, it's not a Canadian tradition because when the so-called Canadians burned the White House, at that time we didn't have Canada yet, so they were just loyalists to the British Empire. Canada happened later. So proto-Canadians, to be Canadians, but not actual Canadians. Mo the Goat is saying the only reason people are obsessed about Epstein is because he was a Jew. Wait, was he? Okay. At this, wait. No, I don't think. I think they're just they're just coming up with. Epstein wasn't a Jew. Was he a Jew? I didn't know he was a Jew. I think they're just making up the fact that he was they're just coming up with conspiracy theories that he was part of Israeli intelligence. Oh, okay. So that actually, he was a Jew. Okay, that makes a lot of sense why they're coming up with all these conspiracy theories then. Oh, that actually makes it all okay. So there we go. Blame the Jews all the time for that's why all of these conspiracies are just, obviously Jeffrey Epstein was guilty. There's a lot of evidence for that. I'm not denying that. But they're just using the fact that he's a Jew to connect him to Israel. Oh my God, this makes all the conspiracy theories even much worse. And at this minute, young girls are being trafficked. Don't see them obsessed about that. Yes, okay, because there's no Jews, no news. No Jews, no news. Yeah, so you're correct. You're correct. The reason there's nothing here other than the Israeli and the Jewish angle. They're just making it bigger. Guys, let me know if this is correct, because I just looked into Epstein. I did some research on, I haven't dig that much deep into it. I just looked at the evidence that they provided for why Trump is guilty, and you look into it, there's nothing there. That I know. But Epstein himself, the cases that have been proven, the guilt has been proven. The parts that have been verified is him just getting this other woman to bring him children for him. Has it been actually proven that he also is doing this for other people and recording them to gain leverage over powerful people? But because my understanding is that part is made up. Am I correct? That part is made up. The only thing that we know for sure is that this motherfucker was basically bringing these children for so saying that is the question. Yeah, well, that the question, the part that is not a question is that he was guilty and he was doing this for his own interests. But the part that seems that the part that everybody seems to believe without any evidence is that he was recording influential people around the world to use that as leverage against them. Have you guys actually seen any evidence for that? Because I haven't. Have you guys seen any evidence for that? That the only thing he's been charged with is that, using children for his own. Have you guys actually, the people who are disagreeing with me, have you actually seen the evidence that shows that he has been recording influential people doing this to use as a leverage against them? Or did you just believe the internet? Somebody's just saying Mossad in the chat. I don't know what that means. Are you just saying that he's part of Mossad with no evidence? And then Drew here saying, I hope you're wrong about Marjorie Taylor Greene getting big. I remember thinking the horseshoe would hit the GOP after the left got radical with Trump. Yeah, I hope I'm wrong as well. I hope I'm wrong about this as well, because this is not good for the world.
Do you agree? Do you think he represents the MAGA movement as he once did?
Yeah, people are saying he isn't Israeli. I know. Okay, I know he's not Israeli, but people pretend that he's part of Israeli intelligence. That's what they're saying.
Do you agree? Do you think he represents the MAGA movement as he once did?
Well, what the American people voted for with MAGA was to put the American people first and stop sending foreign aid and stop being involved in foreign wars. They very much deserve to be put first. Cost of living is far too high. Health insurance is completely out of control. And those are two issues I've been very vocal on for months and months now, long before Republicans were shocked when those big losses came on this past Tuesday's election. So I think that the American people deserve to be put first. That's what Make America Great Again meant to me.
Well, you were wrong that what it meant. You know, Trump came up with it, so he doesn't agree with your interpretation. So you're wrong. America first doesn't mean isolationism. America first means doing everything for Americans, including maintaining a global presence that secures the global trade that feeds Americans. Yes.
And I think that President Trump can do that if he refocuses his effort. And I think that's what I want to see. I think that's what the country wants to see. Even if he's attacking me, I do want him to be successful for the American people.
So sounds like you're saying that he is not representing the MAGA movement that he started right now.
Okay.
I can say that promoting H-1B visas to replace American jobs, bringing in 600,000.
Okay, so that visa program needs to be obviously reformed because it's not doing what it's supposed to do. But you need to maintain that visa because America grew this fast and became a world leader in technology and science and entrepreneurship because it's recruited the best of the best from all around the world. So the idea behind that visa absolutely makes sense. And I'm so glad that Trump is not against that visa. That's what made America a superpower, basically grabbing talent, the best talent from all around the world. The brain drain against all of the world actually benefited the United States.
Place American jobs, bringing in 600,000 Chinese students to replace American students' opportunities in American colleges and universities. Those are not America First positions.
It is America First position. It is an America First position to want the best talent, the best minds from all around the world to come to America. That has served America. That's why you're a superpower. That's one of the reasons why you're a superpower.
And continuing to really travel all over the world doesn't help Americans back at home. I really, and I said this to him, and I will say it out loud. I would love to see Air Force One be parked and stay home, and there be nothing but a constant focus in the White House on a domestic agenda that helps the American people once and for all.
She's actually an idiot. She actually is an idiot. She wants the president not to go anywhere else and just stay home. She doesn't even know what America First means. She doesn't even know how a country becomes more prosperous. America becomes prosperous because of its relationship with all its allies all around the world. That's why America is prosperous. Holy shit, these people, how do these people get elected? They don't even understand basic politics or basic economics.
Congresswoman, you posted on X that
yeah, Gigi, we agree with each other. Gigi is saying isolationists are very short-sighted. Yes, okay, we're back on agreeing with each other.
Helps the American people once and for all.
Congresswoman, you posted on X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you. Obviously, any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Yeah, she's like, I'm being threatened because he calls me a traitor. Like, oh, if you call me a traitor, that's going to make other people want to come to attack. Like, this is insane. He's been talking about other people like that, and she never came and criticized Trump for threatening other people's lives. But all of a sudden, this is just a victim. You're just playing victim. This is such a leftist
I
tactic.
haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And I've
Okay, guys, when it comes to, I know she's an idiot when it comes to politics, when it comes to understanding global politics and international trade or anything else, actually, but she's a very smart at campaigning and advertising, like at controlling the narrative. That response is actually very smart. This people are gonna love her. Oh my god, we need to be scared of this lady. This is Nick Fuentes in Washington.
politics. It's very bad for our country.
This is a groiper, and she knows how to respond. Holy shit.
It's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be.
Guys, didn't yesterday our show, Tucker Carlson was basically saying the same thing. Like, look at it. These people are a bunch of neo-Nazis, like anti-Jewish neo-Nazi isolationists. And they come in front of the camera and be like, guys, we need to speak nicer. We should have no hate in our heart. We should be kind to each other and stop using violent language. That's what Tucker Carlson was doing yesterday. Like when in our show yesterday, when we were reviewing him, like, what is this? This is an interesting tactic. Like, they are basically spreading the most vile, disgusting, and dangerous ideas, and all with like, we're against hate. We love people. We need to talk kindly with each other, and we need to, stop being so angry inside. Like, oh my
Put
god.
down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
So just to put a button on this, you regret the things that you have said.
Somebody in the chat is saying Mamdani will show the path to Allah. Holy crap.
And posted in the past, the Facebook post that was taken down of you in 2020 holding a gun alongside the squad, encouraging people to go on the offense against the socialists, liking a tweet of somebody calling for the execution of Nancy Pelosi and former President Obama. Just examples.
Holy shit, she did all of that? What the fuck? That was insane.
Well, Dana, as you know, and many people know, I addressed that back in 2021. And of course, I never want to cause any harm or.
So this is what happens, okay? When you're not that popular, you need to be saying the craziest stuff to become a little bit more famous and more known. And once you become more established, then it doesn't make any more sense to basically act like that, right? So you go and do the craziest things to get attention and get some support. And then once you get to a high enough level of support, you're like, yeah, guys, those were bad. I acknowledge that was not the right way. But it's only not the right way because now you're on the next phase. If you were still that unpopular, that would still be the strategy. Now that you're one level higher and that strategy doesn't work anymore, you have to be like, I've seen the way. Those were not nice. I'm not going to do that anymore.
And of course, I never want to cause any harm or anything bad for anyone. So that was addressed back then, and I very much stand by my word.
People in the chat are saying taqiyya, it's taqiyya.
As I said then, and I stand by my words today. I think America needs to come together and end all the toxic, dangerous rhetoric and divide. And I'm leading the way with my own example, and I hope that President Trump can do the same.
Okay, so on that, I do want to ask you about something you posted just yesterday on X. You questioned who and what country is putting so much pressure on Trump to keep the Epstein files hidden. And you include...
Tell you guys, did I not tell you that this is all about Israel? This is about Israel. I mean, guys, even if you believe in that Epstein stuff regarding they're hiding it to protect rich, powerful people, don't accept it from these people, okay? Don't accept it from Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? So we might disagree regarding what's behind Epstein files. Okay, let's disagree on that, okay? But please agree with me that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a hero for these victims, okay? She's not doing it for the victim. She's doing it as a way against Israel, okay? Isn't this I didn't see this post, but it doesn't this prove that I knew what I was talking about? Does this not prove that I know what I was talking about? Okay, let's read this again. Read this again one more time.
You posted just yesterday on X. You questioned who and what country is putting so much pressure on Trump to keep the Epstein files hidden. And you included a picture about donations from pro-Israel lobbying group AIPAC.
This is an Epstein. Okay, so let's read the full thing. This and the Epstein files is why I'm being attacked by President Trump. It really makes you wonder what is in those files and who and what country is putting so much pressure on him. What country? Guys, I wonder what country she's talking about. Is she talking about Madagascar? Or maybe it's Uganda? Or is it, I don't know, is it Indonesia? She must be talking about Chile, I think, or Spain. What is it? What country is Spain? Yeah, Spain, China, Canada, maybe. I don't know, guys. I cannot. What is she talking about? What country is she referring to? I really cannot tell. I really cannot tell. And then said, I forgive him, and I will pray for him to return to his original MAGA promises. This I will forgive him and I will pray for you is such a passive aggressive way. This is a passive aggressive. To me, I know some of you Christians might get offended by me saying this, but saying like I will forgive him and I will pray for him, to me is basically a passive aggressive version of a fuck you. To me, that's what it sounds like to me. Am I mistranslating what that means? Let me know. I will forgive him and I will pray for him is just a fuck you. It just translates to fuck you in my mind. Is that it?
And you included a picture about donations from pro-Israel lobbying group AIPAC. What are you trying to say there?
Well, I think it's the question that many Americans are asking, especially when we saw information recently come out in these emails that the Oversight Committee that I serve on has released. And we saw Jeffrey Epstein with ties to Ehud Barak. We saw him making business deals with them, also business deals that involved the Israeli government and seems to have led into their intel agencies. And I think the right question is to ask is, was Jeffrey Epstein working for Israel? And I'm proud to say I don't take money from AIPAC. I don't take money from any special group of people. I'm just representing my district and the American people. And so that's what I was referring to.
I just want to be clear. Are you saying Israel is pushing the president of the United States to cover up the Epstein files?
Yes, that's what she's saying. That's exactly what she's saying.
And what evidence do you have that is the case?
Nothing. No, that is what she's saying. And the evidence that she has is nothing at all. She has zero evidence for this. But it doesn't matter. It just sells. Because Jew hatred sells. Jew hatred is profitable. Jew hatred gets you engagement and supporters. You don't need evidence. What are you talking about? You don't need evidence. You just need to just come up with the craziest conspiracy theories to somehow blame the Jews for things and show other people that you stand against the Jews more than other people. And then you just get a lot of support. You get a lot of support. That's how it works.
Cover up the Epstein files? And what evidence do you...
Yeah, and Neil Bunny is saying, and it's really easy. Yeah, it's really easy. It's working for these people.
Pushing the president of the United States to cover up the Epstein files? And what evidence do you have that is the case?
I simply asked. No, I simply just...
Oh, guys, I'm just asking. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just asking questions. I'm like it's like saying, I wonder if Armin, no, I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna get banned. But yeah, guys, that's how these people save themselves. They come up with the wildest accusations against anybody, but as long as you put a question mark at the very end of your accusation, then like, I didn't say anything. Is it wrong to ask questions? So you could just basically accuse anybody of anything without any evidence, but you could wash your hands and just allow yourself to say that without making it sound like legitimate by just putting a question mark at the end. If you put a question mark at the end of your accusations, then you don't need to provide any evidence for your accusations.
That is the
No,
case.
I simply asked. No, I simply just asked out loud, is there a foreign government? It could be any foreign government.
Oh, it could be. Guys, she's actually saying, she didn't she mention Israel just half a second ago? Hold on. Actually, look at their post. It could be, guys, it could actually be Madagascar. It could actually be Madagascar. Then why are you talking about AIPAC then? This Epstein files and is one this. Yes, this and the Epstein files. Yeah, the fact that they are, oh my God, the fact that they're AIPAC funded, I just like it could be any country. I'm not, well, wow, okay. She actually thinks you're an idiot. She's actually thinks like, yep, you're an idiot.
I don't take money from AIPAC. I don't take money from any.
Look, half a second ago, she was talking about like, oh, this is about not taking money from AIPAC. But yeah, the country that is stopping Trump could be anything. I'm not actually talking about Israel. Wow.
Evidence do
Okay.
you have that is the case?
I simply asked. No, I simply just asked out loud.
Okay.
Is there a
asking.
foreign government? It could be any foreign government, but is a foreign government pushing to keep this covered up? But
It's Madagascar. I'm pretty sure. I have with good authority, like somebody high ups, like she told me. I have the information. It's Madagascar. Madagascar is stopping Trump. Like, how insane do you think? Like, is there any other country that you idiots pretend that has this much power over Trump to stop him from doing something? Like, what other country other than Israel do we have all these conspiracy theories about with regards to having this much control over the US president? Who's stopping? Like, you're saying there's a country that is stopping Trump from releasing the Epstein file, and you didn't mean Israel? Yeah, Madagascar is stopping Trump from releasing the Epstein files, guys. I'm pretty sure it was Madagascar. I'm pretty sure. Oh, so Yasina, thank you so much for the super chat saying we'll all be praying for we'll all be praying for Marjorie Taylor Greene too. Okay, that's good. Is that our new swear word on this channel? Thank you for the super chat.
because people just don't understand.
Okay, Amir saying I'm telling you it's Greenland. Oh my God, Neil Bunny saying it's Wales. Okay.
The big fight against.
Well, you had
releasing these
AIPAC
files.
up there. It was pretty clear which government you were talking about.
Thank you. Like, oh yes, you had AIPAC up there. What the fuck? Oh my God.
That I'm questioning that government in particular and questioning any other foreign government.
Okay, when you're talking about lowering the
Oh my
rhetoric, which
God.
is important for everybody to hear from you and all of our elected officials, but there is some concern, a lot of concern among Republicans about the rise of
Yeah, that's an obvious lie. Like she's obviously lying there when she said like I wonder what country is stopping Trump, and she's pretending that she's not talking about Israel. Like this could not be any more obvious of a lie. Like, so she's not as transparent and honest as Fontes. She's something between Tucker Carlson, gaslighting Tucker Carlson, and very transparent and open and honest Nick Fuentes. Okay, so she's not completely. I mean, she's a politician. She cannot be as open and honest as Nick Fuentes, obviously.
Okay, when you're talking about lowering the rhetoric, which is important for everybody to hear from you and all of our elected officials, but there is some concern, a lot of concern among Republicans about the rise of anti-Semitic hard-right figures.
Oh, here comes the virtual signaling that we're not anti-Jews. We love Jews. We're just asking questions regarding Israel. This is what I think she's going to say. And maybe she will even point out that some Jews are also questioning these things in the United States. Is that what she's going to say? Let's see.
In your movement, especially after Tucker Carlson hosted white nationalist Nick Fuentes on his podcast, didn't question Fuentes about his vile language or views. You did speak at a conference hosted by Fuentes back in 2022. You were criticized, and you said then that you didn't know about his views. Well, Fuentes talked to Carlson about that in the interview. Listen to what he said.
Well, again, with Marjorie, I was a friend of hers, and she spoke at my conference. And then the day after, she pretended like she didn't know me. She pretended like she didn't know me and lied and said, I had no idea the conference I was speaking at. She knew exactly what it was.
What do you say to that?
Oh my God. Okay, that's good, because Nick Fuentes later on said that she would welcome her in. So I hope now I don't know, I hope they turn against each other, because it would be bad if they work with each other. But I think she's going to throw him under the bus here. Let's guess, guys. Is she going to throw Nick Fuentes under the bus right now? I think she's going to do that, even though she liked him before and she was in his conference.
Well, first of all, I defend every single person's free speech rights. I think that's incredibly important. So I don't apologize for that. And I don't believe in canceling people. And
That's such a lazy thing to say when somebody is spreading so much bullshit. And like, well, I defend their free speech. Well, nobody was asking if you're going to shut them down. We're asking if you agree with their opinion. Like, that's such a lousy position. This is basically when you don't have anything to say against anybody, but you don't want to act like you have similar views with them. You're like, well, I defend their free speech. Okay.
I think it's important for people like Tucker Carlson and yourself to interview everyone.
Yeah, interviewing people has nothing to do with free speech. If you own a platform privately, then you are allowed to platform whoever you want and not platform whoever you want. And that has nothing to do with free speech. Free speech is when the government gets in the way. Free speech violations are when the government gets in the way of you expressing yourself, not a private citizen deciding whether or not they want to platform you. That's completely irrelevant. You guys, you're an American politician and you don't even understand the values that made your country great. You don't even know how the laws in your country work. This has nothing to do with free speech. And the criticism for Tucker Carlson is not that the main criticism is not the proper criticism is not why he platformed Nick Fuentes. The criticism is that why he whitewashed them. And when he platformed him, why didn't he challenge him? The same way that he was challenging Ted Cruz, for example.
I don't believe in trying to cancel someone by refusing to interview them and question them. And
that's not the question. The question people are asking you is not whether or not people should be able to talk to Nick Fuentes. The question is, what do you think about his shitty views, you fucking idiot?
And I did speak at his conference back in 2022. However, I don't know Nick Fuentes. He's someone I've never exchanged text messages.
You know him, you know his views, you lying piece of shit. You know exactly what he stands for.
With or phone calls, but I did speak at his conference. That was the first time I had met him that day, and that was it. But I did watch the interview. I watched the full interview with Tucker, and I admire him for interviewing many people as well as exposing a lot.
You're not answering the question. The question is not whether or not they should talk. They should have talked to each other. This is pivoting. This is basically distracting you from what the question is. The question is like, what do you think about his views? Like, oh, I admire Tucker for talking to people and having conversations. Like, yeah, that has nothing to do with the question. She basically doesn't want. Guys, she could have easily said like, Nick Fuentes. This is actually more dangerous than I thought. That means that she agrees that she doesn't want to say anything against Nick Fuentes' views, because she could have just easily come out and said like, I actually think. I disagree with him a lot. I think some of his views are wrong. But instead of that, she's basically pivoting into a completely something that wasn't asked regarding how Tucker is doing a good job talking to people. This seems like she's trying to not disagree with Nick Fuentes, which makes her very dangerous.
A lot of powerful information.
I hear what you're
he
saying.
does on his show.
I hear what you're saying about free speech. I mean, count me as guilty as a proponent of free speech. There's free speech, and then there is hate speech. And
oh my God, no, hate, no, my God, that's not the proper response. Hate speech is free speech. You are free to spread hate speech, but the criticism, the question should be like, okay, Nick Fuentes is free to say whatever the fuck he wants, including hate speech. The question is, what are your views about his speech? Do you agree with him? The question is not whether Nick Fuentes should be allowed to say the bullshit that he says. The question is, do you agree with the bullshit that he says? That's what you should be focusing on. This idiot, who is this person on the left? You're like, there's free speech and there's hate speech. No, there is no legal definition for hate speech. There is no, under the US law, we have free speech in US law. There is no category for hate speech in US law. All speech, even vile, disgusting, there's only very limited speech that is not covered under free speech. And basically that's, for example, a direct call to violence, for example. But hate speech is protected. Whatever you guys call hate speech is protected in the United States. Holy fuck. These are Americans. I'm not American. I'm an Iranian Canadian, and I know about your laws more than you Americans. And you're not just an average American. One of you is a politician, and the other one is a journalist. How are you separating hate speech from free speech? Hate speech is not separated from free speech. Hate speech is included in free speech. How are these Americans this ill-informed? A journalist and a politician know less about what free speech means than this Iranian Canadian. Okay, what the fuck?
Information. I hear what you're saying. On his show. I hear what you're saying about free speech. I mean, count me as guilty as a proponent of free speech. There's free speech, and then there is hate speech.
No. Hate speech is free speech.
And this is a man invited on a really prominent conservative show who said, even during that interview, he had a problem with, quote, organized Jewry. And he wasn't challenged on it. In the past, he has denied the Holocaust, called Adolf Hitler effing cool, talked about the fact that he thought Jim Crow was just...
Okay, Marjorie, you have to say that these are wrong. You cannot talk about free speech now, okay? Yes, we know he has the freedom to say these things, okay? You now have to tell, okay, these are wrong ideas. You have to say that these are wrong.
Fine, and on and on. So
if she doesn't say that, then this is more radical than I thought. If she doesn't say that these ideas, like saying Hitler is cool, if she doesn't say, well, these are wrong ideas, then we're in bigger trouble than I thought.
He thought Jim Crow was just fine, and on and on. So
yeah, Gigi, you're right about libel, but libel is under civil law, not criminal law. So libel is not a crime, but somebody could sue you for damages. So that would be civil law, and personal threats would be criminal law. So that would be a crime.
He thought Jim Crow was just fine, and on and on. So again, there's free speech, and then there's just hateful language and sentiments.
Yeah, hateful language and sentiments are protected by the First Amendment. The only things that are not protected there are very few cases that are not protected, and hateful language is not one of those.
Well, Dana, again, I told you on this interview that I'm committed to ending the toxic politics, and I think I don't want to have anything to do with it. You should have Nick Fuentes on your show, and you could ask him.
Oh, so you're not going to condemn his views. You're going to say you should have him on. That's trying to get it. You're not going to say he's wrong. You're just like, oh, just ask him. You're not going to basically. So we cannot ask your opinions about other people's views. So, I mean, you condemn Netanyahu. When people ask you about Netanyahu, you don't tell people like, oh, I'm not going to comment on that. Just bring Netanyahu and talk to him. If she asked him about Netanyahu's views, you would be speaking against his views. You wouldn't say, well, just bring him on here and talk to him yourself.
Questions about that. I myself am not anti-Semitic. I have never criticized the Jewish people or said anything about them in particular. I am critical.
Yeah, but Nick Fuentes also says that he's not anti-Semitic. So does Tucker Carlson. That doesn't mean anything to us.
Of the government.
Would you condemn Nick Fuentes saying those things? Would you say that he's wrong? Would you say that, yeah, Hitler was not cool? Fuck that shit. Would you say that?
People or said anything about them in particular. I am critical of the government of Israel, and I can criticize any government I want to in the entire.
Well, you cannot criticize people for for celebrating Hitler. You can criticize Israel, but you cannot criticize individuals for celebrating Hitler.
World as well as our own. And a lot of
Guys, we are fucked. This is fucked up. Remember, this is one of this lady is the best fundraiser in the Republican Party after Donald Trump. And her ideas are pretty close to Nick Fuentes. We are fucked, okay? And then on the Democratic side, people are voting for Mamdani. Yeah, this is fucked up. Hopefully things change soon for the better.
government I want to in the entire world is
Yeah, Carl is saying this is not even dog whistle anymore. Yeah, you're right.
Israel, and I can criticize any government I want to in the entire world as well as our own. And a lot of the times I'm criticizing our own government for failing the American people. And I think that needs to be the focus. And that's the most important thing people care about, is being able to afford groceries, housing.
Yeah, this is, guys, and this is how you pivot to something else. Like, hey, the person that you were close to is celebrating Hitler. What do you think about that? People need to be able to pay for their groceries. Okay.
Health insurance and having a good quality of life.
Yeah, and I hear you saying you're not anti-Semitic, and you've said it before, and you know, some of the posts that you have put up, which you have apologized for, certainly have tropes in them that have been used historically against Jews. But I do want to end this conversation with a question to you, and that is, do you see a situation where you and President Trump can make up? And if not, do you think you have a future in the GOP?
This is the GOP.
Well, I certainly hope that
this is the future of the GOP. Do you like what the question? No, the question. Wait, look at the question.
Where you and President Trump can make up, and if not, do you think you have a future in the GOP?
No. The question should be: would you allow other people a space in the GOP once you take over? That's what the question should be. Okay.
Well, I certainly hope that we can make up. And there's, you know, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm a Christian, and one of the most important parts of our faith is forgiveness. And that's something I'm committed to. That's why I can easily come on your show that is watched all over the world, and I can say things I'm sorry for, and I can try to set an example of how I think we should move forward as Americans. And so, of course, on my end, I believe in that, and I certainly hope to see that happen.
Wait, we got a super chat. Shauna saying the moderates need to retake the Republican Party, although I'm not optimistic. Yeah, I mean, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. But here's the thing. I don't know if we should call the people on our side moderates. I think we need to be more aggressive. I think we need to call them classical liberals, and we should stop being moderate about protecting classical liberal values. Like, I want, like, these radical views require a radical response. So I don't know, moderate for us, I think moderate just makes us weak. I mean, these people could destroy not just the United States, but the whole world. So I think the people who are not them, I think we should call them something other than moderate. I think we need to become very aggressive when it comes to standing for classical liberal values and not be moderate about it. So I don't know what terms we're going to be using, but not that. I don't know. Okay, I don't want to play this. Okay, let's play this one. But also let's put this here. Guys, by the way, in 24 hours, we're going to be meeting for a free group call. Let me actually post this community to you guys. Come talk to me and other people in this community in the group call 24 hours from now. I put the link in the chat. It's World Liberty Battle Camp, but also the link to it is also in the description. Once you come to this free community, come to the calendar section and then check the next group call. We basically gather here and talk with each other about politics, and then you could join as well. Again, the link, I put the link in the live chat as well one more time, and the link is also in the description. So if you look at, for example, our previous group call, it was like this. So we were talking like this in a group call. So you could join and talk to the rest of us about all of this stuff. Anyways, let's go to this next video.
Power to quash a story.
Huh.
President Trump is doing just about everything in his power to quash a story that just will not go away. The Jeffrey Epstein scandal. And that includes name calling. Just yesterday, the stunning fallout between him and one of his biggest loyalists intensifies as he attacked MAGA Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene as a, quote, traitor amid her push to release the Epstein files. This after using the power of his government to try to change the focus of the story away from him, demanding a Justice Department probe of Democrats' ties to Epstein, something Attorney General Pam Bondi quickly said she would do, despite DOJ's past assessment that there wasn't evidence worth pursuing. But to Trump's dismay, he's about to face the biggest rebuke from his party of his entire second term, when later this week, scores of House Republicans plan to vote to release the case files, all as some newly released Epstein emails show Trump mentioned by name, though the president has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing.
So, guys, this will be a vote between Republicans will be voting between. This is a popularity contest between Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So, this is going to be a very important vote. This is not a vote on the Epstein files being released. This is a vote on whether or not we're on Trump's side or Marjorie Taylor Greene's side, on the isolationist side or on the what they would refer to as the neocon side, on the pro-Israel side or on the anti-Israel side. That's what the vote is on. And the Epstein files is just an excuse.
Still, he made clear this weekend he does not want to discuss any of it.
We think it's bad to talk about it because it gets away from the subject of how well the Republicans are doing. We have the greatest economy. We have the largest investment ever made in our country's history. We have all of these great things happen. When you talk about the Epstein hoax, what happens is you're not talking about how well we've done. This is a hoax put out by the Democrat, and a couple of few Republicans have gone along with it because they're weak and ineffective. But this is a Democrat hoax to get away from the fact that they just lost the shutdown and they've lost the elections. They've lost the big election, to me, in a record number.
The more he talks about it, the bigger this thing is going to get. Like, he's not going to be able to talk this away, especially with his popularity this low. A lot of people are going to try to fill in the power vacuum now that the Trump brand is not as powerful as before. So this is not going to actually make it go away. This is going to make it much bigger.
All right, we have an excellent panel to break this all down.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, guys.
Politico's Josh.
Calling it a hoax actually makes it look like he's hiding something.
Burns, CNN's Jeff Zeleny, CNN's Isaac Dover, and the Washington Post, Mariana Sotomayor. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Nice to see you all. Okay, so when Marjorie Taylor Greene first came to Washington in 2021 as an unflinching Trump loyalist, someone who was MAGA through and through, wore a MAGA hat to the State of the Union on the House floor. And now Trump is putting out messages like this over the last several days, calling her a ranting lunatic, saying she's gone far left. She's a disgrace to our Republican Party. She's betrayed the entire Republican Party. She turned left, and then calling her a traitor just yesterday. Okay, first of all, wow.
Wow.
I was not expecting that. What is he trying to do here? Is it just to send a message to the rest of the party that he will not take even an ounce of dissension here?
Well, I think the big concern here.
Yeah, but he doesn't have as much of an influence as he used to. And people are going to test that now.
Message to the rest of the party that he will not take even an ounce of dissension here?
Well, I think the big concern here is Marjorie Taylor Greene could be creating a permission structure for other Republicans, other MAGA Republicans, to start to disagree with the president, to buck him on some of these critical issues. I mean, look, Epstein opened the door, right? And it's still one of the biggest concerns for the White House in terms of how these votes are going to go in the House and then in the Senate. But Epstein, followed by some dissension on the president's foreign policy. Now, most recently, the suggestion of a 50-year mortgage. Even Fox News, Newsmax, influencers on the right are against that policy. We are seeing these fractures among the base that is just not something that the White House, especially President Trump himself, is used to.
Yeah, and it's, is it just what Trump always does here, which is anytime there's someone who criticizes him, he goes after them, whether it's Liz Cheney or any other. You can go back down the line of Bob Corker, and for many, many years, this has been his MO. Is it different though because it's MTG and who she represents?
I mean, I think the actions of the president are similar. I mean, we knew, obviously, as she has been sort of rising in her prominence, going on The View in recent weeks and really going after Speaker Johnson, and then really not backing down at all on the Epstein matter and other things. It's not just that. What I'm sort of struck by in this is her criticism is pretty broad-based. She's talking about affordability.
Healthcare.
She's talking about, exactly, and things that look.
Why is it that every single politician that has made affordability the main thing to talk about, which is the correct thing to talk about, also has the most horrible solutions for it? On the left, they want to basically give people free shit, which is not actually free and is going to make things more expensive longer and longer. And on the left and also the right, they want to become more isolationist, which is, again, is going to make things more expensive. And even Trump's solution is tariffs, which also is going to make things more expensive. Like, who are the people who have the actual correct solutions, which is less government involvement and more free trade? Where are the people who actually have the correct solutions? Okay, so we got a super chat by Sapien saying, did you see the conversation between Sam Harris and Douglas Wilson? Christian nationalists, same congregation as Pete Hegseth? If not, you should. It's scary. Really? Oh my God, I'm gonna screenshot this. I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna look into that. Thank you so much. No, I haven't seen it, and I'm gonna look into it. Thank you for the recommendation.
Like, I still support you. She always sort of phrases it with, I still like the president, but, and those buts are getting pretty significant. So, Dasha, to your point about the permission structure, that is going to be interesting to see how many Republicans obviously join the ranks of voting to release the Epstein files. The White House still wants to keep that number down, but the reality is they know that there's very little.
Are they going to push very hard?
Guys, do you think there's a chance that Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be the president of the United States one day? Do you guys think what are the chances of that happening? Do we need to be worried about that?
Number down, but the reality is they know that there's very little.
Are they going to push very hard to try to do that this week? Or are they?
It's unclear. The pressure campaign last week to try to get Lauren Boebert to not sign the discharge petition, it failed spectacularly, and it was sort of an embarrassment. I mean, having a rank and file member of Congress over to the White House in the Situation Room complex to have this meeting, she ended up not removing her name from it. So we will see what the numbers are, but I am told the White House is still trying to keep them somewhat in check. We'll see if that's 75 Republicans, 100 Republicans. That would be extraordinary, but you just get the sense that things are a little bit different now. It's too early to call the president a lame duck, there's no doubt, but you can just get the sense that things are slightly
That's
different.
what's really scary for
different.
this White House about this is the idea that a lame duck period is looming here. And I think this gives that little flavor of it.
And it could be a window into the post-Trump era. Here's what MTG said about in responding to all of this. Among the things that she said the Americans wish he would fight this hard to help the forgotten men and women who are fed up with foreign wars and foreign causes, are going broke trying to feed their families, and are losing hope of
the feeding their families. Where do you think the food comes from? It comes from foreign countries. I mean, at least the technology and the resources and a lot of the food actually comes from foreign countries, but also the technology that makes farming and the processing of food possible, the rare earth metals, the chips, so many of the things that makes feeding people possible in the United States comes from other countries, comes from those foreign countries.
of achieving the American dream. That's what I voted for. Is she more in?
Oh, Shauna is actually saying a good point. Shauna is saying Green couldn't get the independents or swing voters. Oh, okay, that's a good thing. I'm more afraid of the left, actually. You're right, actually. The left. Here's the thing that the far left can do that the far right can't. Take advantage of immigrant voters. You know, that's one reason. That's one reason why opening mass migration works for the left, because you know, the right-leaning people might want you to have more babies, but nothing would get you demographic re-engineering faster than just opening the borders to people that you're promising free shit to.
Line with the base in some ways than Trump?
Well, like, I think with the problem that she's hitting at here is that Donald Trump has not been able to answer the question why. Why is he fighting so hard to keep these files from being released? He's not explained that. He's also not explained why prices are not down when his entire campaign was really based on that idea that he would be attacking prices. And he has said, oh, maybe it's the leftover from the Biden days, but we are 10 months into the Trump presidency and prices, it's not like they've stayed high, they've gotten higher. People are seeing electricity bills that are higher, they're seeing grocery prices that are higher, and the public seems to be associating that with the tariffs, and certainly Donald Trump does too, given that he despite this argument that the tariffs are because of a national emergency situation, that's how he gets around the law and that he can just do it himself, is just haphazardly lowering them, including on groceries in the last couple of days, just saying we're going to make coffee cheaper. Well, if the tariffs are getting rid of the tariffs of making coffee and other food and meat cheaper, then the tariffs made that food higher, the prices higher. And so that when Marjorie Taylor Greene hits on these things, it is this like, I thought that Donald Trump was saying he was the fighter for these things, and he has.
But Marjorie, okay, so this is one thing I very much disagree with Trump on. The tariffs absolutely is responsible for making things more expensive, and I don't know why Trump keeps denying that. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, is her solution for higher prices is isolationism. That also makes. I mean, she's an isolationist. Wouldn't she also be for higher tariffs and less trade with other countries anyways? So I don't know. Like, I don't think she has the right. I think she's worse than Trump when it comes to her solutions for the economy.
Not shown it in her mind.
Yeah, and this is obviously comes ahead of this vote that's happening. We expect on Tuesday in the House to call for the release of the Epstein file. The Republican leadership was forced to do.
Oh, thank you. Tora in the chat is telling people to like the stream. Thank you so much, Tora. Don't forget to oh my God! Don't forget to support Armin. Smash the like button. Oh my God! Thank you, Tora. You're advertising that. Thank you. That's very sweet.
Obviously comes ahead of this vote that's happening. We expect on Tuesday in the House to call for the release of the Epstein file. The Republican leadership was forced to do this despite the push by the White House to try to kill this effort for months. Now it is finally coming to a head on the House floor. But I want to first look at the polling about where the public stands at large about the issue of the Epstein files. Overall, just 19% of the public approve of Trump's handling of this, and that includes just 10% of independents. But that Republican number is pretty interesting. 44% of Republicans approve of Trump. I mean, that is unusual because typically Trump's like the 90% on most issues when it comes to Republicans. It's 44%, but it also speaks to why we expect in the House a significant number of Republicans to.
I think Trump has done a very poor job explaining to people why they can't release the remaining files.
Break ranks here. What are you hearing from your reporting in whether they can reach that critical threshold, which is 290, which is a veto-proof majority in the House? What is the likelihood of that?
I think it is possible. And the reason why is because the Epstein issue remains the singular issue that we have seen Republicans publicly flip on the president, publicly not attack him necessarily, but want to continue releasing the files. I mean, there are a number of even vulnerable Republicans who say, yeah, I'm going to sign on to this. And even some more hardliners who say that they will do this. However, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene has also pointed out that Trump is using her as an example. If you start to speak out against him, it is possible that he's going to come after you the way that he is now coming after me. So she even herself is saying maybe the numbers are not going to be as high as we once thought. But the fact that Speaker Johnson is going to try and bring this up onto the floor to make sure it has a 2/3 majority, it's still putting Republicans on the record, even if it doesn't pass.
You could still vote against the president, though, without sort of doing what Marjorie Taylor Greene has done. She's sort of gone out there, but that's why the roll call is going to be interesting, particularly for Republicans like Ashley Hinson, for example, from Iowa, who's running for Senate. This is becoming an issue in the 2026 campaign. So I think it'll be interesting to see how many Republicans support this without ever sort of really talking about it publicly. I mean, the president can't attack everyone to the degree that he's done Marjorie Taylor Greene.
But that's why the Democrats forced this to not be a voice vote, which is what the Republicans tried last week.
Roll call.
They want everybody on the record,
them on
right?
the record,
Yes.
so then this will be an issue in the campaign.
For sure.
There is one thing that Republican lawmakers are more scared of than President Trump, and that's President Trump's base. And right now, Trump and his base are not on the same page about this issue and a number of others, and that is going to have an impact on how they vote.
She talked about.
Yep, they're more on Nick Fuentes' base, than Trump's base. MAGA is, MAGA is Nick Fuentes' MAGA now, not Trump's MAGA. That's what's happening.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, H-1B visas and other issues that are breaking.
Yeah, and by the way, the H1B visa, let me know that one. I completely agree with Trump on that one. Anyways, I think Trump is right. The MAGA base is wrong about that. But guys, again, don't forget to join our next group call. We just basically hang out together and talk. Let me actually put the link to this community that we have here. Let me actually put the link to this page. Yeah, in the chat. So come here and join our group call if you want to meet other people and just have a talk with each other. So let me tell you what this is about. All right. So yeah, you could basically come here to this community and discuss the news with us. We could talk about politics. We could talk about the news. And it's a good place to meet new people. And again, once you join the community, it's a free community. Okay. It's free. You come, just click on the calendar and then look at the next group call that we're going to have, and then join here, and then you could come and talk with us about your views, about what's happening around the world, in US, in Europe, in Israel, in the Middle East as a whole. So just come here, and it will be a good time. The group is growing, and our last calls were fun. We just exchanged it. I learned from our community here. And also, if you don't want to join the group calls, you could just take part in the conversations here in the main community page, okay? So just join that, and I'll see you guys there. And also, while I still have you here, don't forget to like the stream. Like the stream right now, and also hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that every time we go live, you could be here in the chat with us. And don't forget to recommend this channel, Atheist Republic, to your friends and to your enemies. Tora, did you come to the community? I didn't see you on the call. I was saying, Armin, are you having these calls every Saturday? Do you? No, it's once every 2 days. Do you hand out cheeseburgers and pork? So no, it's not on set. It's not on the Shabbat. It's on every. It's every 2 days. So come. We're going to try to have as many group calls as possible so people could come and discuss this. Again, if you're interested in politics, and the link is also in the description. Again, it's also one more time in the chat, and it's also in the description. But if you just want to go into an environment where people are talking about politics, and you could open your mic, or you could just listen to the group call and just slowly meet other people online that are interested in the same topics that we talk here on this channel about, this is a really good free community to do. Okay? All right, so we're done with the stream. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification, and I'll see you guys again same time tomorrow. Okay? All right, good. And see you also in the group call tomorrow. Right? All right, guys. Bye. Mwah. Oh, wait, I forgot. I'm Israel Chai. Javid Shah. Bye.